Okay, we now come to our cooking system. Basically, we've had this for a while. The MacPack heat exchange. See how it's got the thing under there. It's got a good handle. It's over a litre, and the most we needed for cooking, because don't forget we're cooking for the two of us. Would cook would be a litre of water. MSR Pocket Rocket. We found it great. You can get the Pocket Rocket Deluxe. The beauty of the Deluxe is it's got its own little, you push the button and you get flame. The problem with that is sometimes those break down, I've heard. But we found that great. This is the small gas canister, and that fits easily in our pot. The next size up fits easily in there, and everything can fit in there, and doesn't take up too much room for moving. I was quite surprised. Some people had big contraptions, those big, I won't say the brand names, but it's just so much heavier. That only weighs about 70 grams or something. Really good. We took a flipper so we could get the last bit of gas out of a canister and put into another canister, and that was cheap. Got that from the gear shop in Nelson, I think it was. And then we had this little lighter thing. Never caught my beard on fire. Vivian's one of her fears. So that worked. Look, that worked well for us.
System that we used was we had two of these Cedar Summit bowls, quite sturdy plastic bowls, and Cedar Summit collapsible mugs, which we thought were a bit gimmicky, but after we used them we decided actually
brilliant.
Very practical, because they squash down to nothing, because
really
cups
good.
are really awkward in your pack. In hindsight, we might have got collapsible bowls as well, because these were a bit awkward. They were always a bit awkward for packing. We always put stuff in them, of course, but we carried a small pocket knife and two of these. These are called Mountain Equipment wooden spoons, and very light. One's got a small crack in it, but otherwise they lasted very well.
Yeah. And the reason they're so long,
other people use titanium spoons and things like that. We hadn't tried those, but if you're using a dehy meal, you'd want something with enough room to get right down the bottom to stir them up. And to eat out of the bottom. And to eat out of there too. So that's all we had. Our dishwashing system was pretty simple. We had a small bottle of, it was Dr. Bronner's Pure Castile's soap to start with, and it's been topped up with Cedar Summit Wilderness Wash, so that's why it's a funny colour. But we probably only used a full bottle the whole time. It's very concentrated, you only use a couple of drops. We had this small half a piece of coconut fibre scrubber, light as anything, and a Chuck's cloth, but this is the kind that decomposes, not the plastic kind. Prefer not to use the plasticky stuff if we can help it. So this was either a washer or a dry, or both a washer and a dry, and you squeeze it out, and so that's dried them. And depending on the location and how we're doing things, you either do it in the stream, you do it in the hut at the water tank, or with very minimal water at times. But we didn't actually use very much detergent at all. This is also, you can use a detergent for anything, so it's body, dishes, clothes, whatever you need, but we use very little, really.
Yeah, water. What was our water bottle system?
Most of the time we used bottles that were called Chi bottles. That was a drink that you could buy, Chi.
1.15 litres.
And they're quite sturdy bottles without weighing too much. But
not too big. They like the 1.5 litre bottles are bigger, so a bit tighter in our side pockets of the pack, where the other ones were a little bit smaller. It was easier to have, because I had a couple of other things hanging in there as well. So
we did see a lot of people with big old heavy Nalgene bottles, and that might be very environmentally wise, but they are heavy. So the lighter system is definitely disposable bottles, and you recycle them at the end.
So for we used for water filtering, I'd get to a camp and fill up our 4 bottles with clean water. We'd use the soy squeeze, which was fine. So I'd fill up the Sanok, that's a 2 litre bottle with water, and then this just screws into here, and I'd tie this up somewhere in the hut or on a tree, and then fill up our bottles and not have to be holding or squeezing. Some people were squeezing water too, but I let gravity do it most of the time. One day when we were stuck in sandflies and there was no easy tree, I squeezed like crazy to get it done quickly. And then to clean it, all you got to do is get your clean water, put this little thing on it, and then you put that on your bottle of clean water. That just clicks into here easily. That comes with the soya squeeze, and you backwash it to clean it out. So I did that every now and then. Not as much as maybe I should have, but we had no dramas. If I did anything different, when we bought the Synox, I thought we needed one each, but on our gear shakedown walks, realised we only need one, and this is a 2 litre. Next time I'd have a 3 litre, just so you've got more water capacity and you're not, you're filling up. I was consistently going back down to the creek to get more water to So no, we're happy with the soya squeeze. Other people had systems where they could squeeze it and drink it, and that looked pretty good, but this, hey, it worked fine for us. Don't get the soya squeeze mini. We talked to people who got them. They're just way too slow. The soya squeeze is much better.
This insulated bag, Big Sky International, and we ate a lot of cheese and salami, so we put those in there just to give them a little bit more protection from the heat. But also what these are actually designed for is when you've got your rehydrated meal, filled it with the hot water, you pop it in there. If the weather is cold, it just rehydrates quicker and keeps warmer. Heavy duty plastic bags for our food, for the bulk of our food.
They're great because you can look in and see what's in there.
They're called smelly proofs to keep everything contained in there, sealed off, and then mice won't smell it. These are our second lot. The first lot
they did pop.
Did kind of, May was a bad batch or something. They unsealed along here, but we had no trouble with the second lot. And
they replaced them, so that was good.
Optional extra
from farmers.
This is a silicone resealable bag. We had 2 of those, and we used them mainly for oats. When we would restock in town, we'd fill it up with oats and a scoop for breakfast, but also I think we used the other one for couscous at times.
We did couscous, and sometimes we'd even put if it was available, we'd put sandwiches in it so that we didn't have to stop and make, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or wraps or something that we'd pre-made if we were leaving town.
And we knew it was going to rain, because we didn't. Making wraps in the rain is not fun.
Food. So breakfast was usually oats in some form. Oats with extra nuts and dried fruit, and if it was close to town, we would have an apple or something. We'd chop that. So we didn't cook up oats like proper porridge. All we did was pour hot water on them and let them sit for a minute or 2 and then eat them.
Yeah, and it was fine.
It was fine.
And
so that was basically our breakfast.
And you'd have a cup of tea with that, and I'd have my cup of coffee, just instant coffee for 150 days. Oh, I survived.
Yeah, we did. So not maybe the quickest breakfast, sort of in between kind of.
Yeah, people that had cold soak, they were probably quicker with their breakfast because they didn't have to boil up water and whatnot.
Yeah, our lunches pretty much always were wraps. Wraps with cheese, salami and tomato paste. So occasionally we'd swap it out for crackers because we got over wraps.
Yeah, and it'd be crackers, cheese and salami.
Or just if we run out of salami, it was just cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
Peanut butter, that's the other thing. We would have quite a bit of peanut butter.
Just squeezed onto the wrap.
So, from a squeezy pouch, you can get peanut butter. Sometimes peanut butter and mango.
That was quite not nice. Too bad.
Yeah. Occasionally, if we were close, if it was the first day out of town, we might have some leftover greens or cold meat or something that we'd had from when we were in town
and sometimes we'd bought rolls and we'd make stuff, you know.
The other thing that we really like to do, we only did a couple of times, but was a carrot. Adding a carrot into a wrap makes a whole lot of difference to have a bit of crunch. Or sometimes we'd add chips or something like that
to make it more crunchy.
We had 2 different kind of dinners really. The dinners where we were trying to do lightweight because we had a longer
you got 6 days, so you got 5 evening meals.
We used this backcountry product, which is freeze-dried mince. So a pouch of this is 5 serves. So for us, we used it for 2 evening meals, so 4 serves. So we'd use half a pouch. We would add a sachet of some kind of flavouring, a stew mixture flavouring, and then we would also cook up dried peas or dried mixed veg. Backcountry also do dehydrated mixed veggies.
And then carbohydrate.
And we'd do some either potato flakes, dehydrated potatoes. We use a lot of them because they're very lightweight, or couscous, or noodles occasionally. Yeah. Ramen noodles.
And was that enough food? We're not sure if it was quite enough for like the Richmond Rangers because there was a lot of energy being used up, but it worked, eh?
It worked. I mean, I don't think
and we only needed
hungry.
like one of those is 2 days, so for 6 days you only need to take 3 packets.
Yeah. As opposed to 6 of these.
Well, you'd need like that. But that's just 3 of these for the 2 of us.
As opposed to
we would need 12 of these, wouldn't we? Yeah, we would. 12 of these. So you do how much space that takes up. We only needed 3 of these as opposed to 12 of these in your pack. It's a lot of space. If you're going to do a dehydrated meal.
6 days. We did use some of these. We got a bit sick of that. When it was only 2 or 3 days between resupplies.
We'd do backcountry or real meals.
Backcountry or real meals, or we did a couple of the other one. What's the other one?
Like gourmet.
No,
the Raddock.
Raddocks. We did a couple of Raddocks, which we went.
Not for evening meal there. That was for lunch, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, we tried that. We put a Raddock in our wraps. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. That's complicated.
Yeah. We carried a little container of salt, both for flavour and because John gets a lot of cramp.
If I get in cramp, I just in the middle of the night I'd be making up a salty drink brew.
Yeah. And this one had
that was your master
garlic
foods.
And herb salt, just to add a extra
a master
flavour.
Foods thing. So that was good.
So that's a bit of a luxury item too.
Throw that in with the potato mash, and then we had snacks. So there was a lot of bars. We ate a lot of bars. We got sick of bars.
Usually bars. 1 square meals, and 1 square meals are very heavy and very.
But they've got the energy.
But they've got the energy. Yeah.
So they would be good for a morning tea. And so we'd normally have 1 of those a day and another kind of bar a day. Sometimes we'd have 3 bars, but not normally, eh?
Yeah, only occasionally.
Yeah.
We'd also had nuts. We had crackers and peanut butter. Often when we got in from the end of the day, we'd have a little snack, crackers and peanut butter. Chips.
Eat a packet of chips.
Quite a lot of chips.
Yeah.
Or corn chips. What else did we have? We had those pea crisps,
some kind of pea crisp things,
which were quite nice for a change.
Yeah.
Dried mango was my sweet
and
choice.
I had some candy now and then, just on lollies, certain lollies or whatever. Certain segments where at the end of the day you're getting quite tired. That might be a little bit of a snack just to get you through. But tried to keep away. Didn't want too much sugar. But we did all right, with the food.
Once or twice we tried the real meal or backcountry desserts, just for a little bit of a little bit of a treat. We'd have a half of one each. That was only on the times when you don't have to carry too much food between. We didn't have very much fresh stuff, really. A couple of apples, a couple of carrots if we were lucky. Yeah.
And we enjoyed getting into towns and cafes where you could just, because you're walking every day, you can eat whatever you want. And the problem is now that we're not walking every day, or to that extent, can't eat what I want anymore. Anyway, that's the end. That's the food. Yeah. Okay. Cool. The other food thing was electrolytes, and part of it is because it was nice. There was that VitaFresh electrolyte stuff. We just mix up a brew and drink half a bottle each of that. And sometimes we use Hydrolyte, which you get from the chemist, which is probably a better quality electrolyte, and we found that useful as well.
On the particularly on the really hot, sweaty days when we worked hard, sweated a lot. Yeah, so it was quite important to replace those electrolytes.
We were chatting to each other this morning about what was the hardest day, and it's complicated because it's not just to do weather comes in, hot days, they were hard. Some of the hardest days. Were not necessarily going up or down or the terrain or how technical it was, but just the hot weather made it harder. We were very fortunate with the weather, weren't we?
We had really good.
We did.
Good weather.
Okay.
Right.
That's us signing out on our gear video, which will probably become gear videos